everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Dimir, and what we are talking about today is what it's going to look like post-rotation. So Bloomborough is a standard set coming out in the future. I believe August 2nd is when this set will release, but we will be losing 4 sets, and those will be the 4 oldest sets from standard, and then we'll have to adjust our decks accordingly. So first deck I'm kind of going to do is Dimir, because I feel like it is slightly the easiest one to do, and you can go a lot of different ways, whether you just want to end up playing mono black or whatever. But one thing I will bring up right away, and what I will be doing in these videos, you can obviously cut them very easily yourself, but I will most likely be keeping these strong mana based cards as long as it's not too crazy, just because it's hard to already eliminate 4 sets from our own gameplay. But cutting the lands as well is going to definitely be hard, and these lands sometimes you can play in future, like not future sets, but in other formats, so it's not necessarily that bad if you have to craft them, but you can also just play basics over them instead. And those are going to be Odawara, Takanuma, and Shipwreck Marsh. All of these 5 lands will be rotating, but outside of that, everything else should be rotation friendly, unless Duress is out, I think, but I'm pretty sure it's fine. I could be wrong about that, but I believe Duress is fine. There's obviously a ton of replacements for it, but that's not the worst thing in the world. What's our game plan here? We are trying to interact with our opponent on a stack, whether that is using Phantom Interference. This used to be Make Disappear, but we're using this now, and we are using 3 steps ahead. There were Graveyard Trespassers in the deck and another card, so instead we went a little bit more counter heavy in this variation of the list, and then we are using Tidebinders, a very good card to shut off random things, along with Urtai. If we go against the control matchup or other decks that are trying to keep a lot of cards in the hand, especially very powerful ones against us, we have 2 copies of Duress, 4 copies of Deep Cavern Bat, and Liliana, along with Aclazotz. If you count Aclazotz as a discard outlet, I don't really. I count it as a very valuable 5-drop bomb for a deck, but you can count that in this kind of category if you'd like. But other than that, our removal package comes down to 3 cut downs and 4 go for the throats. I know, very shocking for a black deck to play roughly this. You could argue to play a copy of Long Goodbye in this spot, especially in best of 1 in terms of playing 3 go for the throats and 1 Long Goodbye. But we are now to our valuable pieces, our mid-range area that helps fill out the deck with some very powerful cards, and that is Fairy Mastermind, which is very good in terms of getting this card in. If our opponent's drawing, we are drawing. If not, we play it if our opponent doesn't play a card worth us countering, and helps us push our game plan forward, especially if we have something like a Gix in play and want to make contact with this, start drawing cards. And a Caustic Bronco, it demands so much attention, and especially how strong it is in the Orzhov decks, and most likely we'll play this. It'll most likely get removed, but if it doesn't, we get the value from the card. We saddle it when we can, and then we attack. The only problem in this deck is saddling it is not necessarily the best thing to do in most cases, as we are playing a lot more spells that interact with the stack. Things like that, like Liliana obviously can't saddle the Bronco, as funny as that might be. But other than that, we have the Gix for 2 of. We don't want to go too crazy on this card. Obviously, it's a little bit tough, especially when blue is a heavy cost in our deck. Along with Karavek, as we do not commit a ton of crimes, and we have 1 sneaky little shielded hiding back here to round out the deck. Other than that, let's go ahead and hop into the game, see how they go. And if you all enjoy my content, please be sure to subscribe. I truly appreciate it. It helps out the channel a ton, and let's just get out there in game. Kind of hope to, even just like another land, we feel pretty happy with, I think. That's a great land to start off with. Then we can Deep Cavern Bat, maybe lead into with a Gix. It's Batman. Especially into somebody that's already mauled. Temporary lockdown, good. I guess just take it 3 steps ahead, I suppose. Sure. I could play Gix here, but I think I'll pass on that for now. I'm looking to hit, make contact, flash in a Tidebinder on instep, force their counter spell so they go shields down, and then I can Gix. Or I'll take my value now, and I will counter this. They mulliganed. They're looking for lands to hit in order to kind of curve out their turns. Looks like there's a miss here. I can get if Gix resolves. It's so good, and I think I'm going to try. Like, they have to rip the counter spell in these last 2 draws. And they do. Which is fine. I should have honestly taken that as a hint whenever they barreled that, but also, like, blue-white control ends up stumbling. Like, if you see, like, this, for example, temporary lockdown into that, pretty brutal play. Let's stick a Gix while we can. Seems like a good idea to me. Okay. Combat. Attack. We have counter spells. We're looking pretty good here. We hit for 3. We take a draw. Go for throat. Not necessarily that good. I would love to try to stick a Bronco here, but I think I have to be willing to counter. I think I allow that. I think I have better targets here for my counter spells. We kind of have like the best creature to stick and play. I will barrel Tidebinder, I guess. Even though it's risky, I kind of just want to make sure my threats are worth it. If this resolves and we get to our turn, we're pretty confident in our game plan, I think. Even if an Emperor exiles Gix, I can take care of Emperor. Looks like that might be the play. Yep. Sure. I still have 3 damage. The Emperor is now out of the way. This one. And then we'll use our Caustic Bronco here. Get more on the board. Love to double commit, but they do have a second temporary lockdown. They play tap land. Looks like we're getting a pass here, which is huge for us. And now I have counter spell. Sure, combat. Attack. Tick. That's a really good draw. Down to 12. We play land. Mirix is also good against this matchup. You draw an untapped source. The 3 steps ahead is also available, I guess. I think I just make a token on end step if they do nothing. Because, like, realistically, if they hit land drop plus play temporary lockdown, then they'll also have 3 steps ahead available. And in this case, I can counter something and then pay. Looks like that's kind of how this game worked out. I'm just not tapping out here. If they want me to tap out, they can fight me for it. Oops. Sure. Didn't know if we get to attack, so I should probably have waited on my land drop. Situation like this, I'd love to play this one first. Sure. Let's do this one. Go to counter this. Oh no, they're drawing 2 cards. They're not even protecting their land. Wow. Sure. Not protecting the land. It's a little crazy. Pass. What do we have, opponent? Sunfall, cast this. No more lines? Okay, cool. I don't know. That was interesting. They took a draw, and I'm not saying we played that perfectly. I think going shields down and then kind of deducing that it would be an Emperor play. Maybe we should have played it slightly differently. But I thought if I stuck and I had a Gix in play, there was like 0 chance we went or lose. So I took the risk. Sure, I guess. We have go for throws into counter spells into Shieldred. I think like this is fine as an interactive hand here. Skeleton army, huh? This deck can get fast. Shieldred is a really good answer to this deck for the most part. Huh? Sacrifice this search dive for a big land, put it on the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle. Interesting. It is a way to descend if they need to descend. Now, a little part of me wants to throw this bat in so my bat can start working on making contact and kind of help kind of gain life in this spot. Bloodletter, cut down, deep cavern bat themselves. Deep cavern bat not necessarily that great. Children and bloodletter are a while. If I don't take cut down, they just deep cavern bat me anyway. So, or they cut down and then deep cavern bat me, even though it does take their turn. Sure, we'll do this. Now they have to make a decision, I guess. Uh-huh. Cut down, not necessarily the best card against us, so we don't really care if we attack with our bat and they trade it off, because we'll probably be getting a better card back for our deck than them. But interesting. I don't really have to worry about much next turn, even though we'll probably be looking to hold counterspell every step of the way. They hit a land. Now we have something to worry about. Does this do anything with death? It gives them something to do with their mana, so I guess no blocks. Don't know about Odawara, and I don't necessarily need to reveal that I have another one. Well, maybe I should have, because now I can't play Shieldred. If you want to trade, be my guest. I didn't figure, but like now they can attack me, but it's kind of like a whatever situation, most likely. Sure. Take a little hit here. Graveyard Trespasser. This is just one why it has value. As we hit more lands, we get closer to being able to draw 2 and discard 2 with this. Play a Dark Slick. We still keep up our counterspell. I'm still going to attack. Then if we can get a Shieldred in play, we feel pretty confident in our plan. So maybe the argument is to keep a hold of that so then we can protect ourselves for a turn. But either one that they play, I don't really care. I am hoping it's like try to jam one here. Maybe not necessarily that, but I will counter. Go for the throat pretty good. So now if they even play one next turn, I'm not that broken up about it. I'm only upset if they make a block. I'm going to pass, because I would like to potentially trade off and get my go for the throat back. You get a cut down, not necessarily the worst thing in the world. And now it looks like they might even risk more here. Will you attack? I didn't figure. Here. Oh, I can't do that one. Need the second black. I need the black mana. I'm just going to get rid of their Shieldred. Now I hold up Counterspell for Bloodletter. They could play Cavern, so it's something we do need to be worried about a little bit. And once again, this bat can go in and attack. Sure, they can swing back, but I'm offering them to trade as many times as I can. As many times as possible. Sure. Corpse of the Lost. That gives them bad boys haste and stuff, so I do have to counter this. It's just a good card. Sure. Draw gain. Go ahead and pass it up, I suppose. Shieldred could have attacked, but Shieldred's looking like it has to block now. Uh-huh. Suspiciously holding up more mana. Already used a lot of counter spells, so they can definitely predict that it wouldn't be one. Getting a cut down back here is like fine, I guess. Does play around my mastermind, which is mad annoying. But I will force them to use it right away, I think. Do I care? It's 1 damage. Maybe I don't care. What's this one do? Non-basic land opponent control target place. So live for a basic land card put on the battlefield. You create a treasure. Ugh. Boros. Boros indeed. Like a little mite. Mite can't do much. Just can't block regardless. So my mites can make action. Might see them blow this up. They do. Limiting their mana for a turn. I'll definitely take this action. I think they just make a treasure. Yeah, that's tough. And now I'll force them to use the mana now, so they have to draw a land. They can cut down this, but it'll take their treasure away. And then Bloodletter is not possible, even though I guess realistically they couldn't cast Bloodletter all this time because it's 3 black. I guess I kind of just missed that this entire time, but I don't want to talk about it. Move in, I guess. My attack with my 2/1. I think so. They're looking to probably cut it down anyway. I'm most likely going to keep up my Restless Reef so I can double block. If I play my land, I think so. I think that's the answer. Now I can activate Fairy Mastermind if I want. You cut it down here. They don't. They go to 10. What a weird game. Bloodletter and cut down is now both possible. Sure. Let's move to combat. Just that one, huh? Let's activate here. You can both draw a card. And then, oh, they let it happen. They don't do cut down at all. Okay. And I'll draw another card. Trigger my Shieldred again. And now I go for the throat. I'm going to wait until the end step because it could have a way to duress me or something. Oh, then what do I do if they duress me? Cut down now? You didn't want to do it in response to the draw? Sure. Interesting. Now we cut down this. Get that, or go for the throat that. We get our go for the throat back. Filter triggers. We play this. We blow this up. I bring this up. They have 1 blocker, by the way. Then I double attack. And I will mill them. Maybe that's a bad idea, considering they play cards like this. But we take 5. That's gone. Now they'll take another 2 on upkeep here. After draw, unless of course this is removal for Shieldred, which it could be. But then they have to find a solution to my Restless Reef, which they have one. So they can demo field it, and then they'll get another land, and then they can go for the throat to Shieldred. Wish-washy either way. I don't know if I'm playing the tightest right now, and kind of bothering me. But it is what it is sometimes, you know. Sometimes feel out of the funk. Out of the mood. Go first. Nice. Very sick. My hand does work out, by the way. Oh no, I'm playing a rotation free deck and I have Otawara in there. What am I doing? I think Tidebinder is pretty sick. Tidebinder is so dope when it comes to interacting with an analyst, by the way, because they sack it, the creature's gone, and then we counter the ability with a Tidebinder, which is so dope. With this, I'm going to go ahead and flash Ascend, so I stop getting priority holds. They're not drawing another card here, so it's not that big of a deal. And then I'm going to play Gix, and I'm going to start drawing cards. Well, Phantom Interference is also good. But I think I set up a Gix. Gix seems good. I like Gix. We hit, we draw. We draw land, which is actually incredible. Now, if we find one more, we get to do some nonsense plays, potentially. With just a blue-green land up and ready, I'm not too worried. There's Aftermath Analyst. Manolith. 2 damage to non-vampire creatures. So that's important to know. We now have Time Binder or Interference. So let's attack here. They can block if they'd like. They're not going to. They're going to be looking to ramp as much as they can. I'll double activate. Now, with that said, I could just go for the throw at the Analyst and then counter the next spell, because they could do an ill-time explosion next turn. I actually like this play a lot. That's like the hard part about blue-black, man. If they get creatures down and they start getting in like this with a Gix online, it's so hard for you to get out of this spot. They virtue back and land. I cannot counter that. I mean, I can, but I can pay for it, so it's not like a good counter. Regardless, now they pass. Now we draw another counter spell. Now we have 2 counter spells available along with a Tidebinder. I'm gonna hit you for 5. I'm honestly hoping we get to the point that I can Tidebinder so I can do more damage a turn. And obviously here, I'm going to take as many card draws as I possibly can. And to me, realistically, Aclazot's is not going to be necessarily a good card in general. They fire this off because once we go to discard, it doesn't matter. I'm going to let Aclazot's go, though. They don't put in a land. Oh, the guy couldn't pay it. That's why. Ill-time explosion. We know the interaction for this needs to be counter plus draw 2. Seems like a good play for me. Honestly, whenever my opponent casts 3 steps ahead and it's counter plus draw 2, it makes me want to put a hole in the wall. Yeah. Sorry, big dog. It is what it is. I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm trying to win. Combat. Down to 7. My hand can't get too much better, but I think our opponent realizes that there might never resolve another spell again. And this is what I'm saying. Like, what other cards could they have casted against us that would have got them out of that spot? And this is the best part about blue-black. And this is why a lot of times it can be so good in the meta, where sometimes you play and you're like, I don't know how we ever win. Because you don't get the Gix online. You run out of cards. You're like, I have nothing to get any cards in my hand. But here, against the slower deck, we're just Mastermind right into Gix. They never answer it. And as soon as they have the option to, we counter it. And if they fires a victory, we have a hard counter. And then we hold up this for the ill-time explosion, or like an Analyst. And if they try to play the Analyst as sack at this turn, we would let them get through that. And then we would Tidebinder counter the Analyst and have lethal on board. It's so wild and absurd that this deck can get so far ahead so fast. Here we go first. We have Bat, Counter, or Liliana. Very sick. We'll keep a hold of this hand. A Maul, making our Bat better along with our Liliana. Looks like a land can be pitched from us. We see nothing else really going on. Bat into Liliana will be best, or Bat into Gix and then play Liliana would be very strong. It looks like Boros. So I'm going to take the chance to go ahead and take a look at their hand. See what Boros variation it is. It's Boros Angels. Okay, so we do have to be careful with Steel Seraph, because Steel Seraph is an artifact and Go for the Throat cannot remove that. But I think I want to take the card draw away. Because, like, I don't want to counter that because they get to draw a card. I'd much rather get rid of the good creatures here. And now I have Liliana. I could play Liliana and start plussing. They could have Lightning Helix at any point, but Liliana down. We plus. We get rid of probably Restless Reef because I want to make sure I can play my Shieldred untapped here. They discard. They play land. They play Angel. I minus Lily. Make them sack Angel and then play a Shieldred, I think is my answer. Sure. Very Mastermind, a good pickup. Minus here. Play a Shelly. And then we just try to limit the hand as much as we can. Now if they do eventually find removal, we can Fairy Mastermind whenever they play the Overseer in order to draw a card with them. Archangel will be a tough out for us. I wonder what our draw will be. I'm sure. Unsure indeed. What do we got, opponent? Are you going to commit the Respiration Angel, or are you not? Are you going to wait a turn? Because here's the thing about Shieldred. Shieldred kind of has to be answered. You don't really just get away from it. Let's see if they want to block before I move into this combat. I can also plus on Liliana and get rid of my Deep Cavern Bat. Or I can just minus and get this Resplendent Angel out of the way, but then Aurelia is kind of bad. Let's just limit their board, I guess.
Sacrifices must be made.
Then we fire off this Deep Cavern Bat, take a look at their hand, and then be looking to put Fairy Mastermind in play. Let's take the Helix away. And then if they play this creature, they play it. So be it. I play this and I quadruple block or triple block. Get it out of the way. Do you draw the land? And if you do draw land, do you draw untap land? They do not. Fairy Mastermind coming in. If I attack out, say they block Fairy Mastermind, they take 6. So it's not enough for lethal by any stretch. Let's get this creature in. See if they're forced to block, because they almost are. Now they could cavern me here, which is tough. They could rip a cavern name Angel, which does suck. But I will take that chance. Ooh. We get paid off, though. Counter target spell. Yep. No cavern. Yep. The other idea for the play was to... It's a very interesting play to make. But the other idea for my play was to cast 3 steps ahead and make a copy of Deep Cavern Bat after they draw their card, because you can put a stop here and you'll stop on their upkeep when they untap, and then you can stop right after they draw their card, right before they go into their main phase. So in a situation like that where they drew a land, or said they drew another angel, for example, we can actually cast 3 steps ahead, copy the bat won't enter, and then we can take the card away. It's kind of in a way to upkeep, like Thoughtseize your opponent on their turn. It's not Thoughtseize obviously, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good to do that sometimes. We go first. We have Bat, Go for the Throat, Liliana plus Urtai. It all seems good and well. Kind of just depends. Are you actually mono red? Mono red isn't normally showing red cards. They show like Jace. Things like that. Well, you know. They're aggro. That's for sure. Could argue Go for the Throat. I think so. Especially with the second Liliana draw here. I'm definitely willing to like Go for the Throat, play Lily, and make them sack something. Be mana efficient. I think being mana efficient matters way more here. Play his tap land, little Deep Cavern Bat. I'll take a look and see if there's not a card that matters way more. Angelic Ignition is super annoying. I could just take the Lawrence Escape, because then they'll have protection, but that doesn't get around Liliana though. I could also take this. So this is just like a glorified anything really. I know protection is good, but with 2 lilies, I think I'm just going to make it awkward, as much awkwardness for them as I can. And I'm going to take their other threat. Maybe they'll top deck another one. Angelic's also not online unless they draw a land. So we'll see. It could be like a Kamano play. And then hold up protection, which won't end up working here. They do draw another threat. That sucks. Oh man, Deep Cavern Bat, you're getting sacked to the cause. Maybe they'll try to remove my Liliana.
what
This?
you know about the Raven Man.
What do you want? You want my Liliana to die, or do you want my Deep Cavern about to die? Giving them the option to pick my Liliana, which is what I want them to do. I didn't figure that's what they would do. It's just what I wanted them to do. They at least thought about it for a second.
One of your friends has to leave.
But I think they realized, well, I'm probably going to be able to answer Liliana anyway this turn. Which then plays into my next Liliana, which is super nice. Sure.
Whatever. Luck favors the
Acklazotz,
foolish after all.
you are so sick. I'm just going to use Urtai here. I want to play around this protection while I can. Of course, I get another draw, but I can always just walk here. Most likely, they're going to buff it to make sure it's big enough. They probably found a land eventually. No, they just keep going. I'll trade. I will trade. Sick. Cut down's good. So I cut down Liliana and start plussing, I guess. I mean, I think so. No, Acklazott's so good in this matchup, but I also like... Oh man, these both have flashback though. They have such free spells. I can't rely on drawing a land. I don't play a ton of them. Yeah, I'm just gonna play Lily. Even if they do throw this in the yard, they're most likely throwing this in the yard. But if they even throw this in the yard, it's 4 mana from the cast, so I'll just take it, I guess. And now I have like Liliana minuses here that are good. The red. Anger, draw, they miss. I hit a land. Of course I did. Now that I was like, oh yeah, we can do our thing here. Like, of course I hit a land. We're gonna hold up the Restless Reef to defend. If I knew land was on top, I definitely would have put the Acklazotz ready. Or had it ready. They attack Liliana, sure. Liliana can only plus now. I should have made a Might token, but I didn't. This plus.
Don't overthink things.
What a wild game this has come to. Get rid of the card that you can still cast from your graveyard. Or make those ones harder, I guess. I don't know. Lands are most likely coming up for my opponent. If I just mill them and try. Maybe. No, I think I just keep that for a ground creature so they can't necessarily just attack with it. Could have made a Might so I could have at least started attacking, but Lawrence Escape. Sure, why not use your Homestead Courage? You get it back. Doesn't have reach, right? Yeah, it's just that touch. Yeah, I guess.
Fine. I know when
They also left on top, which means if I draw nothing, my Restless Reef's attacking, whether they did that on purpose or not. 1, 2. Now I don't have enough mana. My turns are just one after another, becoming more and more difficult. Attack. Target you. Oh, and 2 Ancestral Angers went in there. Very cool. I've always said it whenever you play mono red. Ancestral Angers tend to be glued together, and right there they are, side by side. They hit a land regardless. I mean, they were bound to start hitting some eventually, but... Monstrous Rage, Homestead. Is there a reason we just don't want to use this? For some reason? This one? You want to Lawrence Escape this? Or just scry one? Yeah, Lauren's Escape is fine comparatively. I'd rather take away the spell they can cast twice. And I'm not looking to mill them anymore. I'm just going to mill myself. All those were pretty fine. The reason we mill ourselves is because I don't want them to hit another homestead in their deck or another spell. It's just fine. They're looking to scry here, giving up the extra kind of look. Yep. Nice. That's trample, so no reason to really throw a block now. Oh boy. Thank Lord I didn't cut that from my deck. Isn't that right, team? Because it is rotating. But as you can see, sometimes cutting lands is just not really a viable option.
One of your friends has to leave.
Alright, draw that card, please. Pretty good card. Pretty good card. Give it flying. There's an indestructible, and then they're just good. Man, wow.
I'm tired of your secrets.
I'm gonna gain 1 life. It does the same as blocking, but I get to keep my Deep Cavern bet. What do we have? Most likely, I would imagine this happens. Okay. Now they give up that option. Sure. Interesting. Not entirely sure I agree with this decision. One, two, three, four. No, I don't have enough. This and then Liliana will minus here. Minus.
This was boring and sorry.
I don't know if I agree with that play
Off you go.
necessarily. I'm going in. Want to mill them. Oh, well, really wish I didn't. But we have lethal ready. We do indeed have lethal ready, and they draw a dead card. Very sweet. Okay, so this deck is pretty much safe from rotation in kind of a way, right? So as I will be bringing up probably in the intro, these right now are the only 5 that I think are in rotation problems with. Oh, and my basics. Can you imagine if basics rotated? They're like only multi-lands. Good luck. That'd be so bad. It'd be such a bad format. But so this card was Make Disappear. We play Phantom Interference because obviously we're trying to play around what it will look like once our format rotates. But yeah, we got Phantom Interference in here. We got the 3 steps ahead, kind of interacting as our counter magic. I did look. The rest, I believe, is still legal. It has got printed again in a later set, so we actually get to still play it. But we got our counter magic here, and you can kind of count Tidebinder in with this kind of counter magic. Is to stop things along with Urtai as well. Urtai in one of the close sets, it'll rotate next time, just not this time, along with Shieldred, you know, the fun cards that we have still in our format. But for our removal package, we end up loading up on Cut Down, Go for the Throat. You can kind of argue that the rest is the same, but with our discard package, we are pretty high on these as well. And with our value cards here, we're pretty solid. Like, that's the thing about, honestly, Mono Black is probably going to be the better variation, in my opinion, at least if you want to play kind of a deck that's really good at balancing out, playing against everything. But Dimir is also so good because interacting with the stack is so important. Mono Black is better if you run into a creature heavy matchup or matchups, or you think the field is going to be very creature heavy. If you think it's going to be a little bit more mid-rangey and that control is obviously an option, or domain, you're probably better off to some extent just playing Dimir, because you want to be able to counter or stagger the pieces along the way while you can. So that's what we ended up doing here today. So all the counter magic or interaction on the stack, and with the Duresses, Deep Cavern Bats, and Lilianas, we have a lot of hand hate. And with the cut downs and go for the throats, we can remove a lot of things. So I don't really have a lot more to say. Dimir has kind of been around for a while, but this is what the list kind of looks like after rotation for the most part, at least in my opinion. Obviously, Bloomburrow can bring a ton of new cards to the list, but what we end up cutting was Graveyard Trespasser and Make Disappear, along with, I think, one other card, and we end up playing a Karavek, going up on a removal spell, and adding 3 steps ahead and Phantom Interferences, direct translations across for a couple of things. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed the list, even though obviously rotation is still far away, but getting prepared early is never too much of a bad thing, especially whenever you're trying to commit your rare and mythic wild cards if you are new to the game. So right here it is, but obviously the mana base is always going to be a problem whenever rotation happens, and it's roughly the only thing I'm not going to change until rotation happens, because you can't really test the deck out without good mana, and if everybody's already playing the good mana, you need to also be playing it just so you can still keep up. We're already downgrading our deck by not allowing ourselves to use the first 4 sets, so here we are doing this. So other than that, I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.